I'd like to think that standing on the USA. I think they're like this. They're trying to attack you, but I don't care. Because I'm tacky. That'll work. Well, dude, but by doing this, if the audio sounds the same, I can take them in both ways.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, I got one thumbs up in the back. Did everybody enjoy their dinner? Yes, more thumbs. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. Well, I'm so excited to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to see all of you, to see us everybody come together. Welcome to the annual Mars Society Convention. It's an honor to stand here and speak about the passion for Mars and getting humans to the red planet. Now, this year is the 27th annual Mars Society Convention. And yes, that is deserving. That is deserving of a round of applause. I want to take just a quick moment to reflect on the journey since our first convention in 1998. And I am reminded of a world that is vastly different and strikingly similar to our first convention. So in 1998, maybe you will remember, the world was captivated by the release of Saving Private Ryan. Did you guys all have a, yep, I hear a few woos. Sadly, the same year, we lost the iconic performer Frank Sinatra. Very sad. We all have an iconic song that I'm sure a lot of the space enthusiasts know. 1998 was also the year that we saw the successful launch of Deep Space One mission. Now, fast forward to today, we find ourselves in an era of unprecedented technological advancement and discovery. The landscape of space exploration has evolved dramatically with new milestones continuously achieved each year. We have witnessed the successful landing of Perseverance rover on Mars. We've also seen advancements in SpaceX Starship technology, their program, and the growing interest in getting humans to Mars. This convention is not just about sharing knowledge, it's about fostering a community of like-minded individuals. And we are united by a common goal, which is getting humans to Mars. Now, I know, as you all do, that this is a momentous task, but I'm confident that with the people in this room and those that are attending our conference virtually, it is possible that we are going to see humans get to Mars. So I just wanted to start off the evening and say thank you all for being here. Again, it's an honor to be a part of this convention, and I'm so excited that we are all here in commitment and a common goal of getting humans to Mars. So we have an exciting program, very excited for what we have to come, and going to pass it over to Dr. Robert Zubrin, who's going to introduce our performance for the evening.
So as you all know, the primary speaker tonight is going to be Dr. Alan Stern, who's going to talk about the other red planet. But before we get to him, we're going to have a performance. And many of you may have been in the room this morning when I played a song, When Mice Become Men, which emerged from one of the Mars Society's song contests back in 2004 about artificial gravity research. But the point I also made then is the reason why we had that song contest, which also produced many more serious songs, is because no movement of any kind, the civil rights movement, the union movement, okay, the abolitionist movement, ever succeeded without music, okay? And so when I met Oscar Castellino in England, and he is one of the main lights of the London stage. And he said, I want to help. I said, well, we need some music here, some grand music. And he's written some now. Some of this I worked with him on, and together with him and Giuseppe Verdi, we have created a song. It's called Mars Pensiero. I don't know how many people here are acquainted with Verdi's opera Nabucco. Only a few. Okay, opera's not that popular. But Nabucco is Italian for Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. And so what this opera is about is the plight of the Israelites when they're in exile in Babylon. Okay. And in there, they sing this chorus of longing for their lost homeland, and it's called Va Pensiero. And then this became very famous during the Italian uprising of the mid-1800s, where they were trying to reclaim Italy as their homeland from a foreign occupation. And it's almost like a second Italian national anthem. And I said, well, we are longing for our lost homeland, so let's rework it. So here's Oscar. So this is Mars Pensiero, music by Giuseppe Verdi, words by Oscar Castellino, and yours truly.
We have a choir and orchestra from India who have recorded the piece, and we couldn't play together because it's this, timing issues. So they've recorded it the last week. I've got 105 people in Goa from India, and I will sing with the recording. So my friend and I, we were both software engineers in Mumbai in India. He's become a conductor and I've become an opera singer. So he started this orchestra. So I'll play for you. We just got to see that the sound's all right. It's called the Stuti Orchestra, Stuti Choral Ensemble and Orchestra from Goa. I'm just going to test the sound before we start. We have it a bit higher. Let's test the final sound. That's good. So this is Mars Pensiero with the Stuti Choral Ensemble and Orchestra from Goa in India. We get beside the glorious night's heart. Glorious mind speaking me in the that total the limitless realm. Beyond what a place would then face. From the earth is rough dust and ruddy sands. In our minds we envision a future of living land. Set sail, we must be for ourselves. This planet a friend on the way, a native fair. And all through the land of crimson sand, we shall breathe, not concede to the trial. Vacant oceans will roll in revival.
survivors. There is the masters will ponder on this moment we cannot surrender. Oh, that planet long for a calling and rain. The things we have thought of play, for a place and space, play out there in space. And the 24 transformers of India. And Parvez Java, the conductor. Now we're going to get you all to sing. Nicholas has very kindly printed the words. Thank you, Nicholas. Of Mars anthem called Rise to Mars that we premiered in 2017 Mars Society conference. And Robert and I again wrote the words together. That was our first collaboration. And I wrote the tune, and the composer from England, James Welland, he wrote the orchestral bit for our first performance. So let's get that going. I think the live audience can only see the window, but is it this? Oh, that's the same one. We're not doing that again. No. I'm gonna get that softer. Okay. So this is Rise to Mars. So we're going to sing it together. I'll sing the refrain. Let's get the refrain and take so we can just come 3 times. We can sing that together, but you can join us at the entire thing. So it goes like this. Rise to Mars, men and women. Dare to dream, dare to strive. Let's sing together. Rise to Mars, men and women. Dare to strive. It's fine. Build a for that was very good. I don't see more of this. So let's go for it. And if you don't mind, can we rise to Mars? Thank you. So here we go. Let me start it again. Thank you, Peter, so much. Right.
I bet that some of you didn't know you were a singer, but you can all put that on your resume now. That's all it takes. You only need one, right? Do I need to put this back on? Okay. Oh. I see it. I think so. I just accidentally. Need to do anything else.
We just get it queued up for him. Let's do this.
And can we turn the lights down? Oh, I don't know if they can. Let's see. They're gonna pull those down. The curtain. Other way. Here we go. I sure am. I'm getting a tan with these bright lights. You're such a great supporter. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, we're going to continue on. Okay, everybody, I am particularly excited about our next speaker. Dr. Alan Stern is a renowned planetary scientist and commercial astronaut, best known as the principal investigator of NASA's New Horizons mission, which achieved the farthest exploration of worlds visiting Pluto's, achieved the farthest exploration of worlds by visiting Pluto system and the Kuiper Belt. His distinguished career includes leadership in over 30 suborbital, orbital, and planetary missions across the solar system. Dr. Stern was twice, not once, but twice named to Time's list of 100 most influential people in 2007 and 2016. He continued on in his career in 2023, last year. Dr. Stern became a civilian astronaut with Virgin Galactic. He also runs an aerospace consulting practice and has co-authored notable books, including Chasing New Horizons, Inside the Epic First Mission to Pluto. Everybody, please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Alan Stern.
Thank you. Thank you for that generous introduction. And Robert, thank you for inviting me to come out here tonight. I should say that there are a number of ironies in my speaking to you, and they're not lost on me. The first of which is that you guys are all about the exploration of one of the closest places in the solar system, and I'm here to talk to you about one of the farthest. Then to top that, you were just regaled by one of the world's best singers, and I'm one of the world's worst singers. Maybe the worst. And then for all of us who are interested in the exploration of the outer solar system, we've got a lot of Mars envy, because in the NASA program, almost all the money goes to Mars. We see that now with Mars sample return. We spent 14 years trying to find the money to do one mission to Pluto, while more than a dozen NASA missions to Mars took place. And here's a dirty little secret, is that in the outer planets community, people used to say, because it's true, that Mars is a 4-letter word. So those are the ironies that strike me. But nevertheless, Bob asked me to come and talk, and I thought, because, you know, I did speak to you all once before by video during COVID in 2020 about this mission. I'm going to, though, bring up some very different points. There are going to be some things in common if you heard that talk. But what I'm talking to you about in particular, by the time we get to the end of this, is to draw some important parallels between the two red planets of our solar system, Mars and Pluto. But there are also exploration parallels, and that's really where I want to start. I also want to say that I'm a Mac person, not a PC person. So let's see if we can make this work. No, that's not going to work. So why advance the slides? Left arrow. The left arrow. Well, I don't see any arrows. Where's that? Right there. Oh, there we go. The right arrow.
Yes.
The other left on the right. Thank you.
Yes, that one.
Okay. Okay. So
Working.
it just brings into question what everybody thinks. Here's a guy that somehow got a spacecraft across the solar system. If 2,500 of his best friends managed to raise $1 billion, fly it for a decade, and on a one-shot encounter got it to work, and I can't figure out this PC. But there we go. So I want to start with this. How many of you know that Mariner 4 was the first mission to Mars? The Mariner series was NASA's first real planetary exploration program, robotic program. The first two Mariners were targeted to Venus. Mariner 1 ended up an oceanographic mission because the rocket put the spacecraft in the Atlantic Ocean. Mariner 2 made it. Mariner 3 and 4 launched to Mars in late 1964. And Mariner 3 didn't make it, and Mariner 4 did. And Mariner 4 was the first planetary spacecraft to carry a camera. And here on this slide, you see a few things about that mission. It arrived in the summer of 1965 and did a spectacular job of showing us that Mars was not at all the planet that we thought it was. And that has continued to be the case again and again and again. But what's interesting about the exploration of Mars and how it relates to the exploration of Pluto is that Mariner 4 just happened to fly by Mars on the 14th of July, 1965. Well, New Horizons launched almost 50 years later with vastly greater technology to handle vastly greater challenges. Although we had developed the art of spaceflight very well, traveling to Pluto is almost 100 times as far away as a journey to Mars. This means that the radio signals are 100 squared times fainter when they come back. This means that the sunlight is so faint that you can't power the spacecraft with solar cells like most Mars missions. You have to use a nuclear power generator. And there are other challenges as well, including the fact that the spacecraft doesn't have to just perform after a few months of travel, but after a decade of travel across the solar system. And so, you know, in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, this country, the United States, explored all the planets out to Neptune. And the United States was first to every planet. Beginning with the Mariners and then the Pioneers and then the Voyagers, we swept our way all the way from Mercury at the very inner edge of the solar system, all the way to Neptune. But the Voyagers, which were capable of flying past Pluto even farther, did not because of the trajectory choices that were made. They just weren't able to reach Pluto. So when Voyager finished in 1989 with the flyby of Neptune, Pluto was left as sort of some unfinished business. And it took a long time until 2006 when we launched New Horizons that we picked that exploration ball up to explore the last of the classical planets, Pluto. And it truly was an epic journey of exploration. In my generation, the third generation of planetary scientists, this was the only game in town if you wanted to be a part of a first mission of exploration. For planetary scientists in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, first missions to new planets were happening all the time. And they were the ones that were the most coveted to be a part of. By the time my generation came on the scene, Pluto was the only game in town. In fact, in some ways, the only, the last train to Clarksville, if you will. We managed to get it funded. We managed to get it built. We managed to get it launched, and it flew all the way across our solar system. It sounds like science fiction, but it's not. We explored the farthest worlds in the history of humankind with New Horizons. And here's what you might find interesting. The exploration of Pluto just happened to take place on the 14th of July, the same day as the first exploration of Mars, but not just the same day of the year, the same day, 50 years later to the day, from the 14th of July, 1965 to the 14th of July, 2015. We didn't plan it that way, but it sure worked out. And these are the New York Times covers the next morning in both cases from 1965 on the right and 2015 on the left, with imagery, very crude imagery for the 1960s of Mars, and really spectacular, crisp imagery, the surface of Pluto. Now, how did New Horizons come to be? Well, it started in the late 80s when those of us who wanted to see the exploration of Pluto started rabble-rousing, a little bit like the case for Mars and the Mars Underground. We actually had something patterned after that called the Pluto Underground, because the Mars Underground had been so successful